Good morning. Good morning, Internet land. We're just going to give it a moment for Instagram to catch up and be live there too. And then once we're live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, we're going to dive into today's topic and our shift practice, our experiential practice to move our nervous system in real time so we can go about the rest of the day and the week from a little bit more regulated of a state. Okay. Looks like Instagram is on. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of DIY Wellness. I'm your host, Brian Hogan, life coach, filmmaker, clinical therapist, and founder of the S.H.I.F.T model. S.H.I.F.T stands for Somatic Holistic Internal Family Tapping, or Somatic Holistic Internal Family Transcendence, and it's a way of merging nervous system regulation and IFS parts work to really move the needle in our lives and help our parts feel safe as we go about trying to live and thrive. So today, what I want to talk about is when bracing for impact has become a way of life. The name of the topic is when bracing for impact becomes a way of life, do this. And the this is going to be the practice that we're going to do in 10 minutes for 10 minutes. And then also something you can take with you and like carry on forward so that you can help the parts that feel like they have to brace for impact all the time, because that's no way to live. And that's hard for them. That's really hard. And so let's talk about what happens when your nervous system gets the memo that the danger, never gets the memo that the danger has passed. Because for a lot of us, it never did. You grew up in chaos. Maybe it was like emotional unpredictability or yelling or criticism or addiction or instability, walking on eggshells, never knowing what version of someone was going to come through the door. And so your body learned something brilliant. It learned brace now, so it hurts less later. And that worked. That's what's important, that it worked. Hypervigilance is not pathology first. It's intelligence first, adaptation first. Your nervous system saw patterns and adjusted to the patterns. So that was a brilliant survival mechanism, and it helped you get where you are today. And that's why you're sitting here now listening to this. So now you scan rooms and you monitor tone shifts. You over-explain things. You rehearse conversations. You brace before opening emails. You tighten before reading a text message. You anticipate catastrophe even before tiny interactions. And this is normal. I do this still sometimes. We all have this. We all have parts of us that are like this. Some more than others. If you grew up in an environment that was chaotic the whole time, then you might have some complex PTSD, and it just takes time to heal. Trauma is the most treatable mental health condition there is. It takes three main ingredients: safety, truth, and a compassionate witness. So by regulating our nervous system, which is what we're going to do in a few minutes, it helps us to feel safe. And by sitting in our truth, okay, this is what happened, or this is what I feel, our truth, not the truth, just our experience of the truth. And then the third ingredient is a compassionate witness. That can be anyone, a trusted friend, a coach, a therapist, someone that allows you to feel safe. And with those three ingredients mixed together, transcending trauma is what takes place. And so after a while, when you're in this hypervigilant state, I said all that because I don't want anyone who's watching this to lose hope. We all have this hypervigilant piece. We all have parts that scan the room like that. And we can all heal. Healing and lasting transformation is possible. So if you're in that hypervigilant state, after a while, you don't even realize you're doing it, because it stops feeling like survival and it starts feeling like personality. So imagine someone sitting in a car in a crash position, because it isn't our personality. It's really not. It is just survival. And imagine if you were sitting in a car in the crash position 24 hours a day, hands tight, jaw clenched, muscles contracted. At first, that would protect you, but eventually the brace itself becomes damaging. And that's what chronic hypervigilance is. It becomes a chronic sort of freeze. Your system never fully exits impact posture. There's a term for this. It's called allostatic load, and it's the wear and tear of the body from chronic stress activation. Your nervous system was designed to mobilize for danger and then return to baseline, but trauma interrupts the return. So instead of activation recovery, you get activation, activation, activation. And it's not just trauma that interrupts the return, it's also culture, because part of the return is being able to like feel it fully, shake it out, fully access it, and then let it pass through. And our culture has taught us to avoid hard emotions. And it's even taught us in our minds that shaking and trembling is a sign of weakness, when actually shaking and trembling is a sign of a nervous system trying to re-regulate. So both trauma and culture have taught us to go from activation to activation to activation by avoiding emotions and not allowing ourselves to shake. And eventually your body starts paying the price for this. And the price that it pays, the cost, is things like inflammation, digestive problems, chronic tension, exhaustion, anxiety, insomnia, emotional numbness, you name it, because your system is spending enormous energy trying to protect you from impacts that will never come. Your brain is not just reacting to reality, it's predictive. It's predicting reality constantly based on the past. So if your history taught you something bad is probably coming, then your nervous system starts living there, even in your present life where you've left that environment where something bad is coming. But in anticipation, in preparation, in pre-impact, your nervous system says, something bad is coming. And that's just on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, all the time, because of how we were trained by a chaotic society, a chaotic upbringing, whatever it was that caused the tragedy and the chaos. And the real tragedy is this, that the body cannot heal fully in perpetual anticipation. We have to find a way to shift, to be there with and for the parts that feel hypervigilant so that they can feel the truth and the safety that will allow them to shift. They're not going to shift just because we say so. We need to provide the ingredients, safety and truth and compassionate witnessing. The mystical traditions echo this also. They understood this. Buddhism says suffering isn't just pain, it's clinging, it's resistance, it's anticipatory grasping, trying to control the uncontrollable or trying to control the level of pain. Christianity says be anxious for nothing, but that verse gets weaponized sometimes because it doesn't mean never feel anxious. It means you were not designed to live in permanent fear. You were not designed to live in anxiety. It doesn't mean it's bad or wrong to feel anxious. It means it's not your natural state and you don't have to stay there. In Taoism, they say the Tao does not strain. Nature moves in rhythms. Trees do not force springtime. Rivers do not panic themselves forward. And meanwhile, humans, we try to white knuckle existence through this control, through a sense of safety that is an illusion instead of the real felt sense of safety that comes from being home in ourselves, being regulated and being present. So here's the part that I really want you to understand. This is where things will shift a little. Hypervigilance is actually not proof that danger is present. It's just proof that danger once was present. And your nervous system beautifully, faithfully has not forgotten that fact. But survival mode becomes dangerous when it becomes identity, when bracing becomes lifestyle, when vigilance becomes hypervigilance and becomes your default relationship with existence. So what I want to do today is spend a little time shifting. We're going to do a practice here. It's just going to take us about 10 minutes where we're just going to meet the parts of us that brace for impact. And we're going to allow them some space to feel seen, heard, and understood. And in that space, they may shift. Like, I just share a story with you guys. One time about 10 years ago, I was driving around Southern California, which is where I lived at the time. And I realized, and I had this like ache in my shoulders. And I realized, like, I noticed in that moment that I had been like holding the steering wheel like this. And then I also noticed in that moment that I had been holding the steering wheel like that for a decade. And then I also noticed in that moment that my stomach was clenched and that my jaw was tight. And I was like, oh my God, what are you rushing toward? Like, I was on my way to make a delivery, but I wasn't late. And so I just, for some reason, I had this flash of insight. I think it was because my shoulders started to ache actually. And then I was like, whoa, you're bracing everything. So I just let it all relax. And that really helped me. And I decided, okay, I'm going to put some music on. And since then, I've been gently, slowly working with my nervous system to not be like that in the car and eventually not be like that in other places. And I started to realize, like, I had that awareness and I was like, wow, I brace a lot. I go around my life bracing. And so that moment in the car helped me shift, just a cognitive shift, noticing I didn't need to do that. And so I started putting on music in the car, sometimes chanting in the car, doing different things, audiobooks too, anything that would allow me to disconnect from like, oh, I'm trying to get to a certain part of the journey by a certain time. And you always get to the place you're going to get to within minutes, whether you rushed the whole time or whether you relaxed your way there. And once that sank in, I just realized it was time to start relaxing my way there more. And I use that now as like a life philosophy. We'll get there. Let's relax our way there. I'm going to relax my way there. It doesn't always work. Like I'm gearing up for a 2-day intensive workshop this weekend that I'm running with some friends. And there are parts of me now that are wanting to rush and wanting to brace, and because we don't feel totally prepared and we're still getting everything ready and it's all exciting. And yet, even in this, noticing like, okay, I can actually relax my way there. It's not going to be any faster if I do it all pent up. In fact, I might even have more creative access, more creative inspiration if I slow down. Science backs that up too. So what I realized is that my nervous system wasn't trying to ruin my peace. It was trying to preserve my life by having me brace all the time. And it just didn't get the memo that I was safe and that it had outgrown that survival mechanism. It's like, hey, nervous system, you created that one when I was 7. We're good now. But it doesn't know. It really doesn't know. So the goal is not to force yourself calm or suppress anxiety or shame vigilance. The opposite. The goal is relationship, because the parts that are bracing for impact are exhausted and they don't need your punishment or your scorn or your frustration. They just need evidence. They need connection. And the evidence they need is that you're here now, that the impact already happened, they survived it, and they no longer have to hold up the entire sky by themselves. So let's transition to a practice. We're just going to spend 10 minutes here to meet the parts that brace, the parts that scan, the parts that anticipate impact, and we're going to help them soften without forcing them to. So take a slow breath and notice your body. Notice where you may already be bracing without even realizing it. Jaw, shoulders. I'm noticing I have like this tension in my ankles as I'm forcing my feet into the floor right now, and I don't need to do that. I can relax my way there. So just relax your chest, your stomach, and just notice. And begin tapping with me on the side of your hand when you're ready. And remembering that the shift practice here is eyes open and repeat after me. So you don't have to worry about remembering the tapping points, and you don't have to worry about what to say. That said, if you're familiar with the points and you want to close your eyes, that's fine. You can't get this wrong. And if any of the words I say don't resonate, just switch them in real time to words that fully resonate for you, because that's the second ingredient of trauma healing, truth. And so you want it to resonate as your truth, not my truth. My truth is entirely irrelevant to your healing journey. Your truth is essential to understand. Okay, even though a part of me is always bracing for impact, I acknowledge that part. Even though my system expects something bad to happen, I honor how hard it's working. Even though I stay tense all of the time, I'm open to noticing that gently. Top of the head, bracing for impact. Eyebrow. Eyebrow. Waiting for something bad. Side of the eye. Preparing for danger. Under the eye. This tension. Under the nose. This vigilance. Chin. This scanning. Collarbone. Trying to stay safe. Under the arm. Always preparing. Okay, you can stop tapping there or continue on your favorite point, or just put your hands on your heart and just notice. Take a moment and notice, what is the part trying so hard to protect you from? The part that's bracing. What is it afraid of? And just see what comes up. There's nothing to force. And just meet whatever comes up with your compassionate curiosity. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. That kind of energy. Yeah. Tell me everything. And just see what this part might want to share. There's no pressure. And when you're ready, we're going to begin tapping again on the side of our hand. Even though part of me never fully relaxes, I acknowledge that part. Even though resting feels unsafe sometimes, I honor that experience. Even though I stay alert all the time, I'm open to understanding why. Top of the head. I can't fully relax. Eyebrow. I have to stay ready. Side of the eye. I have to stay alert. Under the eye. Something could happen. Under the nose. I need to watch carefully. Chin. I need to stay prepared. This constant alertness. Under the arm. This exhausted protector. Okay, stop tapping there. Just put your hands on your heart and take a nice deep breath in through the nose and a long, slow exhale through pursed lips. And check in with this part and see if it's willing to share. When did it first learn that relaxing was dangerous? And just see what comes up. And just meet whatever comes up with your same compassionate curiosity. Oh, yeah. That's right. Thank you for sharing that. And if nothing comes up, that's okay. Just hold open, compassionate space for the part, even if it's hesitant to share. Just let it know that you're here with it and that you're seeing it clearly for its positive intention. And see how it responds to that. When you're ready, and take your time, there's no hurry. We're going to move into our third round here. Even though my body has carried this stress for a long time, I acknowledge that. Even though I've lived in survival mode, I honor how hard my body has worked. Even though this system is tired, I'm open to softening. Top of the head. My body has carried so much. Eyebrow. So much tension. Side of the eye. So much pressure. Under the eye. So much readiness. Under the nose. My system is tired. Chin. My body is exhausted. Collarbone. Holding all this stress. Underarm. Trying to survive. Yeah. Just take a moment there. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And see what your body might say to you if it could really fully exhale. What might your body want to say if it really could fully exhale right now? See what comes up. Just take your time with this. You can tap with me on the side of your hand while you connect with your part. And then we're going to move into 2 rounds. We're going to do in a row, and then we're going to close with a visualization. We're going to offer safety to our parts. We're going to offer trust to ourselves, and then we're going to visualize that connection. So just stick with me for a few more minutes, then we'll enjoy the rest of our day. Even though these parts are scared, I am open to offering safety. Even though my system learned vigilance, for good reasons, I'm willing to soften toward it. Even though this is difficult, I'm open to something gentler. Top of the head. Maybe I don't have to brace right now. Eyebrow. Maybe this moment is safe. Side of the eye. Maybe I can soften a little. Under the eye. Maybe I can breathe. Under the nose. Maybe I can let go slightly. Chin. Maybe I don't have to hold everything. Collarbone. Maybe I can trust this moment. Under the arm. Maybe I can soften. All right, continue on the side of your hand and just notice what happens inside. When you stop fighting the vigilance and start comforting it and start opening to possibility, and just notice. And then we're going to move right here into the next round. Even though parts of me still expect impact, I'm open to trusting myself more deeply. Even though I've lived in survival mode for a long time, I am willing to reconnect with peace. Even though this is a process, I am open to resting in my own presence. Top of the head. I survived. Eyebrow. I'm still here. Side of the eye. I don't have to do this alone. Under the eye. I can trust myself. Under the nose. I can trust this moment. Chin. I can soften. Collarbone. I can reconnect to peace. And under the arm. I can rest. I can allow myself to rest even for just a little while. Okay, stop tapping there and close your eyes or cast them down and just imagine the parts of you that brace for impact. The vigilant one, the scanning one, the protector watching every doorway. Maybe there's a whole group of parts that brace. Maybe it's just one. See them. And now imagine yourself approaching them. The real you, your inner wizard, calm, steady, present. Not forcing them to relax, not demanding trust. Just sitting beside them and emanating the warm glow of your comfort, your compassion, your curiosity. And slowly they begin to realize something. They are no longer alone carrying the burden. The impact already happened. And somehow you survived. Now let your whole body imagine what it might feel like to stop waiting for disaster. Just imagine it for one moment. One breath without bracing. One moment without scanning. 1 second of peace. Take a breath and let that land. You don't need to heal by forcing yourself out of vigilance. You heal when the parts still bracing for impact finally realize that they are safe enough to rest in you, in the undamaged, undamageable core of peace at the center of who you are. What IFS calls self with a capital S, what I call the inner wizard. So thank you, everybody. If what you heard here resonates with you, then please share this video with those you know who might appreciate the message. And if you have questions about the topics or anything, let us know in the comments, because I'm here to help you get unstuck and celebrate your wins. Because DIY wellness means do it yourself, but that does not mean that you have to do it all by yourself. So tune in next week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday morning. Until then, keep taking personal growth into your own hands. Much love.